4Ks to the finish on day 6 of Paris-Nice. There's always a question mark over this stage. What's it going to be? It was prime for a breakaway given how the profile looked, but it took 2 hours for the break to go, and that was never allowed too much leeway. The GC riders wanted to affect the race today, and there's going to be big changes at the top, in the top 10, in and around, and approaching the weekend. 3.5 kilometers remain. They're ticking away quickly, these kilometers, as we go downhill to La Colle-sur-Loup. Just 2Ks or so more of downhill road, and then it's uphill to the finish. The stage win is going to go to one of Matteo Jorgensen in the yellow. He comes from the United States. Brandon McNulty from the same nation in the white. And behind, well, no prizes for guessing where Matteo Skjelmose is from. He's wearing the Danish flag on his back. This is the Belgian champion Evenepoel. Stands to lose out in the general classification today, but still 2 important days to go. Paris-Nice is always an open race until the end. Tomorrow's stage has changed, so some new planning will be required. A new approach is required. Going into the final 3Ks here, all of these big names are going to have to go back to the drawing board to get past the young guns.
Yes, it's going to be a difficult one for Roglic and for Remco also. And McNulty here, he is riding really strong today. And we did see him on Montpellier. Was he in a bit of difficulty? Lost a little bit of time. Maybe them small, very explosive uphills don't suit him. Where today was more of just a walking down all the time, and the riders maybe getting more of the fatigue in there, and he comes to the fore here and looking really good. And he was quite a long ways ahead of some of the men who are challenging here, like of Roglic, for example. He was well over 35 seconds plus, so he's going to be a minute and a half down at least here now in the GC standings. And when you look at the terrain to come, it's going to be a difficult one. But again, these guys will try, and they'll have to go back to the drawing board and see what they can do in the days to come, because this is a situation they're in. They'd not, have signed up for this at the start of the race, certainly, to be this far down against some of the riders we have. And as you said, these 3 guys, these guys are really putting up a great performance. So that shows that, they are going to be very difficult to get rid of and to take time back in the days to come.
Particularly for Matteo Jorgensen here. This is a dream scenario. He lives locally. He lives on the Côte d'Azur. It's where he came and based himself when, of course, he turned professional. Here he is in the yellow jersey at the front, pulling along, and they're approaching the final kilometre now. McNulty, what fight he's shown this week. He lost the yellow jersey the other day, but he has not given up. He stands to go back into the lead in Paris-Nice.
Yes, and we did hear, of course, from him that he was sick after UAE, and he didn't know where he was exactly. So he'd see as the days go by, and sometimes if you've been in a sickness and you get into a race, the first 2 or 3 days you're not at your best, but then suddenly it can start to improve, and that looks like the case, that he is getting better also as this race goes further on.
And Matteo Skjelmose, given more responsibility this year, building to the Vuelta. He'll go and defend the Tour de Suisse again. But here he is at Paris-Nice looking for something, and the games are beginning up the front as we're 700 metres from the line. Skjelmose has been sitting on a little bit more in the last few kilometres, waiting and ready, and that's natural. He's much further back in the GC than the other 2.
Well, he's leaving the Americans fight between themselves there in this final. You can see they're marking each other, but Skjelmose normally, in a run to the line, he is very explosive. But again, how is he feeling? And after this very difficult stage, we could see some of the other guys putting up a big battle for the stage win against him.
400 metres to go. The gradient now ramps up to 8 and 9%. It's the battle of the young Americans at the front, but Skjelmose is ready to spoil the party. A top finisher as Evenepoel's trying to get back whatever he can with the other GC riders. As it stands, they're on the way to losing a minute here. 1 kilometre the line for them. They're 700 metres behind on the road as nobody's really kicked for home yet. It's tense and tight. They've worked out their advantage, and now we get Skjelmose moving. He's the man in the red here going. It's McNulty at the back who's starting from the back, having led out. Skjelmose with the explosivity to show, and he's riding away. Jorgensen, who's already attacked once here today, cannot close the gap. He's going behind. McNulty will come around him, and Matthias Skjelmose there with the line in sight, finally sitting up. It's Danish delight for Lidl Trek. They worked all day long. Pedersen was there. Skjelmose strikes, and he wins stage 6 of Paris as Brandon McNulty retakes the yellow jersey, fighting back after having lost it a couple of days previously. Vlasov loses contact with the GC group coming in behind, but how far up in the GC are they going to be? It's Evenepoel who's trying to limit the losses. Luke Plapp at the back of this group, trying to hold in and trying to keep himself up close to the top 3 as well. Can he do so? He's fighting, he's suffering, he just loses contact, and it's Evenepoel who's just pulling away behind. Evenepoel showing he's the strongest in this group at the minute. He's going to be closer to the others, but he's going to have a mighty job on his hands over the weekend, as are the likes of Roglic, Gal, Bernal, Luke Plapp, powerfully. It's been punishing for him, but he's not been able to save the yellow jersey. This is Joao Almeida coming to the line. It's his teammate who's going to retake the yellow. 4.5 hours, kicking the life out of each other over 200 kilometres. They've ridden through all sorts of conditions today. The snow, the cold, the wind, but it's the man from the dry, hot Arizona desert who's done it. Brandon McNulty, who has retaken yellow, and Matthias Skjelmose, who wins a sensational stage.
You know, you could see there he was, you know, taking the advantage, leave the other 2 men better on the GC standings, you know, fight it out a little bit, and then when he kicks here, he is that sort of rider, that more explosive. And of course, when you get a little bit of rest period in the wheels after such a difficult day, it does count a lot and wins comfortably.
Brilliant stuff for the Danish champion, Lidl Trek. Well, how they've ridden this week, they deserve something, didn't they? They've been aggressive, and they have it.